Welcome to another episode of Reseller Evolution. My name is Scott.
And my name is Carl.
How's it going, Carl?
Pretty good. How are you doing, Scott?
Could be better, buddy. Could be better.
Oh,
Just
no.
like whistling zippity doo-dah.
Episode number 70. Woo!
Here for longevity.
Hey, wow, you're...
No, I thought of that one before the show.
Oh,
It's the only thing I could come up with.
Well, that's pretty good. Actually, I like that.
So what is going on, Carl? What is new? What's in the works? How's your week been?
Well, it was a long weekend. And so things were all messed up. Just in terms of your normal schedule. Even though I'm retired, and there's not much of a schedule, there is still my wife working or not working and all that stuff too. And she gets Monday off as a public servant too. So it's a 4-day weekend for her. And she took Thursday off too. So it was even longer. So the booth, I was curious how the market was going to go this weekend. It was quieter. So not quite as good. But my buddy came to hang out. So that was nice. But we didn't have a ton of sales. So but the nice thing is I brought in all these records I bought in the summer, and I kind of screened out the better ones, and then I got him to price them all, and that saves so much time because he really knows his records, and you just go through and put price tags on everything and say, "Oh, this is great."
So would he not price this stuff before?
This is my records. He prices his own stuff.
Oh, okay.
But he has tons of records there, but I brought in my records. And I can keep them separate because they have different price tags, so I'm not going to mix them up. And you price them all and say, okay, some are worth 20 and 25, and so I was happy about that.
Well, you know what? It's good that it's working out because sometimes things might not go as smoothly, but he seems like he's pretty reasonable, and you guys probably set it straight up like this is how it's going to work type thing or something. Because it really seems like it's working out.
Oh, it is. Like I said,
a partnership, really, right?
Oh yeah, friendship too, right? I go out to his place sometimes and just hang out.
Oh, okay.
We just shoot the shit, right? So it's great. No, he knows his stuff. He really knows hockey stuff. I have no idea about hockey stuff, but so he's jerseys for sale too. All the records and just odd things, and no, it's good. And it's fun too, right? It's good to have someone else there. So it gives me a chance to wander around. And I ask his opinion on stuff. I might not always take it, but I have the opinion and this experience. So, and the rules are pretty, this is what my commission is. This is how much I can negotiate. The prices are on everything, or they should be on everything.
Yeah.
We only had one incident where it was I sold a Tonka truck, and it's this feels cheap. There was a $40 price tag on it, and it's this couldn't have been right. And I talked to him, and first he's like, "Oh no, that was right," and then later he said, "Oh no, actually it was 48." So somehow the tag got switched. But one incident.
And how much does he have on it?
He had 48 on it.
Yeah.
And the price tag said 40. And then I negotiated some off of that. So
you were saying it feels cheap, meaning you think it should be less than 40?
No, it should be more than 40. The price tag on it felt cheap. It felt like it was the wrong price.
Okay. I thought you meant when you held onto the vehicle, it felt like a cheap
No.
Okay.
The price was, it felt the price was too low.
Okay.
And I was like, but I couldn't just say no to this person who brought the thing up with the price tag. It's not their fault. I guess they could switch it. I don't really think they switched it though. I think the wrong one got on there somehow. But one incident out of 4 or 5 months now of all the stuff that sold for $8.
Yeah, for $8,
it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
The main thing is
I would even blink an eye on that, to be honest.
Well, yeah. And the main thing I think is just keeping our stuff separate. So I know whose is I know my stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, but sometimes it's I don't want he brought in a couple of DVDs, and I said, I don't want you putting DVDs out because I have so many DVDs. I'm not going to know your DVDs
right
amongst my stuff. So But
And honestly, if they're gonna price switch, dude, they're not gonna do it for $8.
I know that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, they're not
Right.
gonna do it for $8. They're gonna put an $8 tag on it,
Yes.
maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're not gonna do go to that level
No, I
just
don't think the guy did anything. But
yeah.
yeah, so the market was quieter. Um,
You know what I find more than price switching? They'll take the price off and they'll come to the counter asking, "What's the price of this?"
yes, that's true.
That happens more. I'm sure price switching happens too, but that happens more, to be honest. So
Yeah, the only thing I don't like is like there was a jersey someone brought up
yeah,
and there was no price on it, and uh, he was out in the market doing something like he wasn't at the booth.
yeah,
So it's like, well, I had to guess. It's like, okay, 45, and the guy's, oh, think about it, and then he came. My friend came back. He said, oh, actually, that's 75. So I'm glad I didn't take 70 to 45. Right.
yeah.
So
I would just say, listen, this, most of this is my stuff, but there is a portion on consignment. This, unfortunately, is on consignment. So if there's no tag on it, I can't sell it. I'm
that's
gonna
what I
have,
basically said. That's what I'll do
yeah,
from now on. I'm not even
yeah,
going to guess from now on.
yeah.
I'm going to say sorry, I can't do that one. But
And sometimes I like show me where exactly was this because maybe it fell on the floor. Somebody else could have accidentally got taken off. So, and then just go look while the guy's there, right? And
that's
then
what
you're
I kind
trying
of
to
did. Yeah,
provide customer service at the same time.
it's a rare event. It's not
Yeah,
like if
it's for sure.
like for I've like yeah, I've when I started, I was very clear. It's like I want everything priced. I didn't want to guess prices. I want to know how much I can like negotiate for
Yeah,
because people will negotiate, and um, and like if I also it's like I get to see what sells in the booth, you know, and what brings in, and it's fun too, right? Because this way I have more diversified items. So I probably wouldn't have doubled my booth if it wasn't for his stuff.
right, right.
So, um, but yeah,
Okay,
this weekend,
so just to kind of retrack a little bit, did you say you had a decent weekend?
no, it was slow.
It was slow. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Like, I said to my friend, I'm not sure if this is a weekend you really want to come in because I said I don't know what it's going to be like on Sunday because a lot of people think the market is actually closed
Yeah,
on that Sunday. And it's like, and so there, it wasn't dead, but it was definitely 50% of the normal traffic.
yeah.
So,
Uh, okay, interesting.
yeah, but
We are known to be open. We were actually open Monday as well.
mm,
Um, so I would say like we were busy, but not a lot of big things sold. But I'll get into that later. Finish your week. How is everything else?
the other funny thing is I sold that WWE belt.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I when I went to list that belt buckle, and it's a
Yeah.
belt buckle, it was really hard to come up with a price
Really.
because when I looked and Google Lensed it,
Yeah.
they're very similar ones, but they were plastic, not metal.
Okay.
And there were some comps, but it was like all over the place. So I just put a price higher than I normally would have for that. So I
Yeah.
asked American 99.99, which is just me guessing. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, well, I'm gonna see how it goes, right? And
Yeah.
then someone offered 70 American. And it's like normally I wouldn't take an offer like 70 on 100, really. But especially for something I just listed.
Yeah.
But in this case, I put a higher price than I thought I was gonna get
Okay.
because I didn't know the comps, right? And that's about 70 Americans about 95-ish Canadian. So I thought, fine, I'll take that. So I paid 30. So I'm gonna make $30, maybe $40 off the belt, but pretty quick. It's like
Well,
just pictures,
yeah.
put it in a box, and off it
Well,
goes.
you
So
just showed it last week. Like you just
yeah,
got it last week. So
yeah. So
I thought that was really quick. Um,
I could have maybe got maybe another $10, but I wasn't
yeah.
willing to
Yeah.
take that chance.
Yeah.
So
You could also not sold it or got less too, right? So
yeah, it could sit around for a while. The other funny thing I sold was as a Scrubbing Bubbles,
Oh,
which is like my
yeah,
old bolo from when I
yeah.
first started. Everyone's talking about scrubbing bubbles, scrubbing bubbles. Uh, it goes
Are
in
they,
the shower for people who don't know. It was like just a comedy bolo.
so are they still holding their value or what?
Well, I sold this one. I think I got
Nice.
60 American for it. So
Oh,
whatever that is.
geez, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was just funny. It's like, oh, I have one of those still. But yeah, so I got to ship that out.
Those are
$62.99
American.
US dollar. Yeah.
Wow. So that's like 85 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I've never seen them out in the wild.
I haven't seen one in years now.
Yeah.
The
But I
issue with them,
remember it used to be the rage when I first started this. Like
it was
everybody's talking.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was hot, hot, hot for a while.
Seems to me like it still is if you can find them.
Yeah, the issue with them is sometimes the machine doesn't work, and
Okay.
then you get returns on them. So sometimes people will just sell the soaps, the soap refills.
All right.
So we'll see how this goes. I had an issue once when I sent one where the person said it didn't work before they even got it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
Hopefully you block that guy.
it was a big deal. I got my money, they got their money. eBay paid me,
Oh,
but because I contacted eBay saying this person hasn't even received it yet, and they're complaining, and they said, "Well, wait to see what happens," and then they got it, and then they said, "Oh, I got it now. It doesn't work," and then eBay says, "Well, it doesn't work." It's like, "Oh wow, so you're saying that they knew in advance that it wasn't going to work?"
yeah.
Come on. And I had to fight with eBay. That's what like I said before, eBay goes up and down in terms of like service to us.
Yeah.
That was one of their down times, when the
Oh,
low times. It's like, come on. I'm not that unreasonable, but this is just dumb.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was fine. Uh, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So how was your week?
My week was good. I mean, we'll take a look at eBay here, and it wasn't the normal, but and I said this last week too. Like I haven't been listing, so uh, it's my own detriment. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to be sitting here blaming on eBay when it's me that's not listing. That's
Yeah.
on me. That's my problem. But I did have some decent sales. I sold a dental plate powder cleanser tin, and that came out of that lot from that pharmacy lot that I
Yeah.
was talking
Yep.
about.
Yeah.
So $45 on that tin, $30 on a Pokemon lanyard. Um, Sold a bunch more toy soldiers and vintage new in the package. It's chromium gold Beetleborg. So $119. I think I had 125 or 135 or something. And it's new in the package. The package is showing some wear. Um, it's an action figure,
Yeah.
right? So uh, they would have been a watcher. I've had that for a while, so I probably sent them some sort of like 10, 15% discount type thing. Had a couple Royal Daltons go out, so we'll see how that turns out. I ended up. She was asking what I could do, so I got her 15% off if she buys two, and then she's like, "Well, what about the shipping?" And I always do, combined shipping, so I can charge you for one shipping for the one, but and reimburse you for the other. And then she's like, okay, it's in my cart. Is there any breaks, chips, or cracking? And I'm like, no, there is not.
Yeah.
They're good. And then she goes, okay, well, I'm gonna buy it now, and I'll be watching for that refund for the shipping discount. I'm like, okay, you watch. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But toy soldiers. I was talking to you a little bit. A friend from the Sunday night show that I used to do. Uh, Messaged me on Instagram asking if there was less sales to the US. For me, no. For me, probably 85% of my sales were to the US. So I don't know if you're noticing anything different, but I definitely not.
Well, for me, I really don't sell enough right now to know it's a trend. But I've
Yeah.
had quite a few people mention it to me that they found sales to the United States has gone down, and also I've seen comments in other places from people saying sales to the United States have gone down. So I don't know.
I'm just wondering if sales have gone down in general, and then they, they equate the two together. I don't know. Uh, but most of my sales are going to the U.S. So um, now, if 50% of my sales are toy soldiers, I would say 95% of the toy soldiers were going to the U.S. anyway. So are those guys that are going to buy no matter what? But I don't know. Everything else, I can find out exactly, but I only think the Royal Daltons went to Canada and maybe one other item. Everything else was U.S. Same with last week too.
Yeah,
So, so I haven't seen that personally, but it's interesting, something to keep an eye out for. But I haven't noticed that. Uh, my plan is to get back into listing again. Just busy there for a little bit, but get back into the listing. I will also add next week we're going to have a special guest come on,
yep. We're gonna have
Mr. Jamie from Thrift on Fire.
yeah, that'll be fun. We'll talk
Yeah,
about the booths and stuff like that, and all the same things, and like how we got into this and all. It'll be fun. It'll be.
yeah.
I've never talked to Jamie on a show,
Oh, okay.
so I know you've had him on your show a few times. So
Yeah, I I talked to, like, I know it was short notice to come on for today's show, which is going to air on Friday. Uh, but he already had something planned, or he would have been talking to us right now. So, um, so anyways, he says he's good for next week. So,
sweet. Something to look
yep,
forward to.
look forward to that. The booth. So getting that kind of is the booth thing. So my booth sales, my booth sales have been very good. Not home run great, but that's because there's been no big ticket items. Like, I'm looking again, it's kind of mirroring last week where like a $40, those are like high sales. Everything goes under that. Um, just kind of going through this quickly for prices. A couple of $20 sales, but a lot of $10, $5, $6, $15. Um, Trying to see if there's any, like, I sold a green lamp today for $50, which which I'm happy with because I almost changed that price tag to $35, right? But so I'm glad it sold. That was one of those banker lamps.
Oh yeah, I've actually sold a lamp this weekend, and the weekend before I sold lamp at the booth. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I used to put 45 to $50 on banker lamps, but I've seen them sit a little longer right now, and I usually got
Yeah.
$5 into them, right? So
Yeah, I see them quite a bit.
maybe 10, but so I thought, oh, maybe I'll drop this one, and it sold today, so I didn't have to drop it. Cabbage Patch doll for 25, Inkwell for 20, and it wasn't complete. It was missing. It was missing a bracket for the pens.
Okay.
So I was going to put that online. It was very cool. It was Victorian. Uh, so I just threw it in the booth. But a lot of hats, comic books, CDs. Oh, I did sell a $65 item. If you look at any of my past, it's a booth upstairs. It's the bigger booth. My past videos. Uh, there's a large picture, and it was not framed. It had like a plastic uh, cover, like it was supposed to be framed, but the frame is gone. But they kept the plastic. Usually, it can be glass, it can be plastic. In this case, it was plastic. Uh, Kind of like your window to see through to the picture. Anyway, it was a large one with the girl in the green dress,
Yes.
very Art Deco-y type,
Yeah.
or Art Nouveau.
No. Yeah.
That's one for $65. That's I was happy with that.
Yeah, that's good to me.
It sat for a little bit, but I think it kind of confused people because the glass was there, but there was no frame. So now, like, what do I do with this? But I wanted the glass there to protect it, and it kept it held up, and it didn't curl. So I wanted to keep that. I call it glass, but it was plastic, but it was, part of the. It would have been part of the picture, but the frame is gone. Put it that way. Um, but I think it kind of confused people, right? Like they didn't know what to do with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes that happens, bud. Like sometimes if you have something, sometimes it's better to take it out, or like to change, like, because it just confuses people. They don't know what to, like, just throw it away. Take the picture and leave everything else, but they don't do that, right? It confuses them. So keep that in consideration in your booth. Uh, Clothing is doing very well too. I started putting clothing in the booth, and sold a sweater for $20. I mean, you pick them up for a buck or two. So books continue sell. Do you got books in your booth, Carl?
I do.
Like
Um,
old books? I don't know about modern or topics, but
I have sold books, but I don't have really like I have a bunch of manga. I sold some, but the rest of me sitting there. I sold a bunch of choose your own adventure
oh, okay.
or finding fantasy books, but the person bought them all, and that
Yeah.
was like right at the beginning when I started.
Yeah.
But I
Sales
really
are
don't.
sale, dude. If they buy them all, that's, to me, that's good. That's a
Yeah,
good
that
thing.
was good. Um,
Um, I find if you go to these auctions, sometimes you can pick up books. Like books are starting to be known as good sellers right now. So I'm going to auctions and I can't pick them up for what I used to be able to.
I've tried, but the ones I actually wanted is what everyone wanted.
Yeah. Okay.
So and they're heavy, and for me, I don't have enough. I find with books, I want to have a good collection of them, not just like one or two randos. And so I might take the manga. I haven't decided. It's not my priorities, the books, but
Yeah. Well, if you go out yard sailing and you can pick up ghosts like Haunted Homes of Ontario, or
yeah,
uh, Ghosts of Niagara, like kind of like
UFO,
ghost stories and all that kind of stuff,
yeah,
ghost adventure, but I mean, fiction, nonfiction, like you can classify it all as one if you want, but ones that people tend to believe, you know what I mean? Or like, here's my experience with ghosts. Like, not so much a ghost story like a novel, but more of like personal experiences and stuff,
yeah.
hauntings. Those sell very well.
UFO books do really well too.
UFO books, another one.
Yeah,
Yes. So
I
if you find those
I
at
kind of
yard
look,
sales,
but
I always throw those in the booth.
yeah, yeah, they do okay. Like, um, for me, it's like I need somewhere where they're gonna fit in well, like a bookcase. And right now I have plastic shelving, and they don't really do well in the plastic shelving. Uh, but I have some bookcases, so I put them there. But yeah, I haven't touched too much. You know what actually is selling is, remember those cars I bought, the F1 cars and all
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Those have been selling,
Really?
believe it or not.
Nice.
So yeah, so I'm just gonna take them all. I might even pull my eBay listings because I've only sold one.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna bring them all in, and then people were excited to buy them too. I
Well,
was getting
and
about 10 to
that's,
15 bucks each. So
I'm glad you made that point, because we always talk about things that sell online and they won't sell in the booth. But there's the opposite that's true too,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
So that's a good point, because not everybody, definitely a lot of people do not buy on eBay. They don't go to eBay or online to buy stuff. Maybe Amazon, but that's a different animal. Um, but when they're walking around, they'll buy it on impulse anyways.
and
You know what I
and
mean?
and where I am, there's a lot of car guys out there too,
Yeah.
and not older car. Well, there's older car guys, but there's younger car guys too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the market is definitely there for if you have automobile. Actually, I sold a. It was kind of funny after I left. My friend Chris texted me and said, "Oh, I sold one of your ephemera Ford advertising off my booth when I wasn't even there." So I guess I don't even know how that happened because I have everything covered up. But it was kind of funny. But yeah, car stuff sells out of the booth.
Yeah.
So I should be looking for car stuff, even though it's
The
totally
only
not my
thing I
thing.
would I would tread very lightly on. Lightly meaning, if you can get it for very cheap, it's good. But you got to be careful, is NASCAR, because it's been overdone.
Yeah,
So you can still sell it, but you might get $12.95. So you don't want to be paying $10 for the car. And a lot of time people overprice them at yard sales. Oh, it's a NASCAR, it's great, but they don't understand that there's a billion of them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
NASCAR stuff, I generally, yeah, it's good advice. I don't generally, I knew that, and I don't touch it
But if
usually.
you can get it for like a couple of bucks
Yeah, if it's cheap and looks like I've
in good
sold a
shape,
few car high end call. Actually, thinking about it more and more, it's like I've sold some, those like kind of 1 to 16 scales,
yeah,
high detailed cars, and I think I 25 each or 20 each or something. And so if they're $5, I don't mind, but you have to make sure the condition's good.
yeah,
But they sold quick. That's the other thing. They didn't sit around. So that wasn't NASCAR, but that was just regular cars. But yeah,
yeah. I find like the muscle car era
muscle
sells
car.
extremely well,
Yeah,
and I can get like some of the rarer ones, like an Ertl, but it's like a rare, like a I don't know, like Camaros do well. I think you could get probably around 45 to 65, depending on condition and other
mm,
things, but that's kind of the range I can get them for. Um, but like I had a Dodge Charger with the fin and everything. I got like $100 on that, you know.
yeah,
So some of those cars can do well. I sold one of my red lines with missing one of the front wheels. It was a green Camaro. I got $20 for that.
nice.
I paid $8 for that whole toy box at the auction.
Yeah,
So I think I talked about that last week, but I got a bunch of red lines in there. They were beat up. A few of them were missing a wheel or two. Well, no, they were missing a wheel. Like I didn't have one missing two wheels, but I did have three or four missing one wheel. But
it's pretty common. Someone actually came to me in the booth last weekend and said, "I have this wheel. Do you have any more of these wheels?" I was like, "No, I don't have any of those wheels."
they're for red lines, or were
It
they?
was just like a random car wheel.
Oh, because I have a ton of wheels. Uh, like I think they're brand new. I got them at an auction, and it was just all wheels.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
So, so some of them came off like really old, like 1940s, 50s pressed steel trucks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they're not like, and some of them are rubber. Anyway, I'm digressing. Um, so I haven't got to them yet, but I look forward to listing them because I want to see how they do.
oh
But
god,
yeah, but yeah, I think we're kind of in a NASCAR thing. Like some can do better than others. Packaging, new in the box, those things obviously condition means a lot. But I just think the NASCAR stuff is so overdone that you got to be very careful with it. Uh, I know people might disagree with me, but my knowledge range is enough to know don't get in trouble with it, but doesn't mean I'm not missing something. But anyway, that's my experience. If I price it over $20 on a NASCAR, they're going to sit. If I put 12.95 or $15, I can usually sell them. But,
yeah, yeah,
so I definitely won't be paying more than $5, but I try to get it for a couple bucks or get it as a throw in a bunch of stuff. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So in a group, a lot of hats have been stolen. Comic books, just kind of the same old stuff, like a lot of smalls. But dude, the smalls don't take up much room, and I don't even mean to call them smalls. I think I did that mistake last week too. But they're small, but they're lower priced CDs, comic books. You can put a lot in a small area, but they do chip away. Like at the end of the day, they really add up, right? So
yeah. I need to get myself a new comic book box because I like my friend brought in some comics, but they're just like in a pile. It doesn't really work well.
yeah,
So uh,
yeah.
I'm gonna put them in the comic box. Do you have yours in the comic box or
I think they're all in comic boxes.
yeah?
They're in boxes for sure.
Are they boxed and
And they're
sleeved?
standing up. I think everyone's in comic boxes. There might be one or two. Like, I think I have some manga that didn't come in a comic box, but I think I modified a box to kind of be that in that size range.
Right.
But
Are
they're
they
not
all
expensive. All the mangas are like under $11, so I just priced them all for $3 or $4, and I just put the whole batch of them in the booth.
bagged and boarded?
They are all bagged. Did not board them.
Right.
I know, because they could curve and stuff, but they're not. heavy. Like I'm not going to waste money
Oh no,
boarding
like
them.
the bag
I
and
already,
board can cost more than the comic book if you're not careful.
yes, yes.
So like the comics that I was given, they're just for reading. So I'm not going to bag them. I'm not even going to put them in bags because they're not worth anything. So
I do put them in the bags.
yeah,
I do put them in bags, but I'm not going to board them.
like, who
That's for
knows?
sure.
Maybe I'll change my mind. I haven't decided what to do. I didn't know they were coming in, so I'm gonna have to
The
go.
reason I bag them, Carl, is because I just don't want them damaged. Because once they're damaged, they're really worthless.
Yeah, these are already kind of like at the end of the life, anyways. But
But you're different too, because you're there, so no one's going to sit there and rummage through them like roughly, because you'll just say, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know what I mean? Where me, I'm not there,
yeah,
so I like sometimes. Honestly, it's been decent. I can't complain, but sometimes I've come in there and things are just a mess. It's just like it takes you 20 minutes just to sort them all out, and you know,
yeah.
and that
Like
kind of
for me, the only thing that messed up is the like we have a bunch of t-shirts in a bin from my friend there,
yeah.
and people rummage through them, and he was saying, "Oh, Carl, you went in and messed them up." I was like, "Dude, like I know you spent all morning like folding these. They're gonna last 5 seconds before someone just goes and rummages through that bin.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like it's just the way it is. But it's just funny.
Yeah, so I think that's our weeks. I don't know. Is there anything else to add to that? Uh, like I didn't have any private picks. I didn't. I don't know if I had any real sourcing this week.
I tried sourcing for the market, uh, but there was nothing there. That I saw some Smurfs, but they looked like they'd been painted, so I kind of left them. And then when I talked to the booth guy, who I know a little bit, he said, "Oh, someone came in and bought the other ones." So I figured they took the good ones, and yeah, they left the painted ones behind. I like Smurfs. I all my Smurfs are there now, though. Like I was going through my old inventory, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
I'll bring in more. And it's like, oh wait, they're all there. So, I the graph paper I was talking about, like that nerdy thing.
yeah,
Remember this? So I was going to graph the
yeah,
my booth and where things sell.
yeah.
My friend Simon knew what it was for right away.
Oh, really?
He says, "Oh, you're totally just trying to figure out where things sell and how much and all that." It's like, that's right, Simon. It's kind of funny, but
Yeah.
he's kind of nerdy like me, so it was kind of appropriate. Well, I don't know, nerdy, geeky maybe, but yeah,
I think we're all geeky in some area or another. You
true.
know,
Yeah.
I totally am. So I don't take. I think geeky or nerdy is kind of it's in trend. It's trendy to be that now. You know what
Well,
I
yeah,
mean? Like Revenge
especially
of the
especially
Nerds. Remember Revenge of the Nerds in the 80s?
yeah,
Like
nerds. But but but
Booger.
there's but I would say geeky is definitely in. I don't know about nerdy, but geeky is definitely in.
Yeah, I think it's all kind of it's. I think it's kind of in right. Like you kind of I don't know. Maybe the video game era has brought people in. Like just everybody's come
Well,
to
everyone did
join
video
join the
games.
nerdy,
Yeah,
right?
I think nerdy, I think like science and math and stuff. When I think geeky, I think comic books,
Yeah,
superhero movies. Uh, you know,
cameras. It can be computers. It can be just anything that you're.
well, geeky to me is like wouldn't be cameras and computers. It's more like I said, uh, D&D and stuff like that. Right? Is
Yeah,
geeky.
well, I just remember like I don't like. Hey, listen, we were born. I was born in 1970, so
Right.
in the later 80s, anybody who was using a computer was geeky to me because I had no. What's the
Well,
hell's a
not to get into
computer?
things, but to me that's nerdy. But anyways, whatever. I'm not going to get into another debate about.
Well, I don't care. Nerdy geeky, I'll agree with either one, but
Yeah.
it was it was
You
you
know
know
what's nerdy is me like being. Like they said they found a high possibility of like life on another planet this last
is
week.
this just recently?
This last week, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I've been trying to learn all that stuff and like how they know and like what gives them hints and what's the counterpoints back and forth it. I love that
Dude,
stuff.
I used to listen to that stuff so much, but it just gets to this. I'm always let down. You know what I mean? It's always such a big letdown. You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is
There,
there's clickbait everywhere, right?
yeah,
Which
yeah.
is why you can't just say like that's why I'm excited about this one is because it's less clickbaity. There's
Well,
actually real stuff behind it. So
yeah. I think it's if listen, if they found something and they proved it, or we can keep in contact with these people, or
well, it's not
they
that type
can
of life. This
they
is
can
micro.
beam us back and forth, then I'm excited again.
Yeah, this
Otherwise,
is not
it's just
that.
it's amoebas. It's just
That well,
it's
that's
it,
it. It'll
it's
be the first.
microscopic organisms,
Yeah,
like
yeah. No, no, it's that.
20,000 feet under the ocean that's frozen for the first 10,000 feet. I don't know. I'm just going on like back
Well,
and
to me,
forth.
it's exciting because it's not this solar system; it's a different
Hey,
solar system.
I can understand it. I just kind of gave up on it because it just all the same thing. Like, and I'm not putting Bigfoot in the same category, but I
Good.
used to love watching. Well, let's see the footage of Bigfoot. It's always blurry. It's always
It's
crap.
always
It's
BS.
always like,
It is always trap.
yeah, it's
It's
always a
like
tree
I
blocks
know,
everything after the first, like, you see one arm kind of shoulder and
I
then
know,
it's
and then they
gone.
cut it out. Yeah, it's like
I
how?
don't even
Why
watch
were
Big,
you?
I don't even watch
Yeah,
Bigfoot stuff anymore. Like,
UFO
because
stuff is the same way. It's like, why
yeah,
did you cut filming there?
yeah, exactly.
And also, it's like now with CGI, it's all so fakeable you'd never know.
But dude, in another 5 years or less, it's gonna look so real. We're not gonna know the difference.
We're there now.
Yeah,
We're doomed. Like
we're,
video footage is useless.
we're
Yeah,
doomed.
we're doomed. You can't tell what's real and not real.
Yeah,
It just looks too good. So it's
yeah,
like, yeah, we're there now, and
yeah.
I love UFO stuff. Like to me, this is not when I'm talking about life on other planets. It's not UFO stuff I'm talking about. It's
No, no, I
yeah.
get it. But I mean, we started in something similar to that too, right? So apparently, I don't know. I don't know. It depends if it's
What?
evolution, how you believe it. But um, they say we started as a microorganism on this planet
Yeah,
billions of years ago. So,
yeah, yeah.
uh, anyway,
Anywho, so that was the interesting. That's what I've been obsessing about for the last week.
so in like another 1.5 billion years from now, that planet will have people
It will never have
selling
people. No,
selling antiques.
no. Yeah, yeah. Maybe then it's topic related. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, it will only ever have microbial
Well,
life.
you never know. Somebody who decides to seed the planet, with trees and
I'll leave it. I'll just agree.
oily.
Yeah, I'll just agree. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Uh anyway.
Yeah. But anyways, that was my week. Nothing exciting coming up. I have an auction tomorrow, but we'll see how that goes. Um, I I just been like trying to bring stuff. I don't know the same stuff, right? Like it brings stuff to the booth. It's starting to not empty out down here, but I can actually walk around. It's kind of
Yeah.
nice. Um, I haven't been to a thrift store probably in 2 weeks. I don't really miss it. I was going to go tomorrow
Wow,
to a
2
bunch,
weeks, eh?
at
Wow.
least 2 weeks. Yeah. Well, it's like I have good stuff here.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I should be doing something with it. So, you know,
Yeah. I actually agree with that. I need to kind of thin mine out a little bit more. I always like to have a little bit extra. Um, but you start digging into things and you start realizing like what's wrong with me? Like I'm looking for this stuff, but I haven't even dealt with this stuff that I'm looking for that I have.
well, you know why? Because the stuff you have is not new and exciting,
It's not
or
exciting.
or it needs testing, or it's just like not super not even actually valuable stuff I have. It's usually because it needs testing. That's usually the issue.
Mine is just because I put it in a box and forgot about
Well,
it.
there's that too.
you know.
Thankfully, I have less and less of that stuff as I've been like purging, but also like I have a bunch of stuff like bad buys I can just donate. Like I have a
Yeah.
bunch of ink over here that I bought, and it's like what? And the problem with it is it's not toner, it's inkjet, which I'm not supposed to sell.
Yeah.
But it looks like toner. That's what tricked me. And it's like I spent money on this. It's like Carl, it's only going for like $19 online. It's just not worth it because I don't want to get my account suspended over it. And it's like it's old. Like I would never touch this. I should never have bought it, but I would never touch this stuff again. So just donate it. Once it's out of the house, you forget all about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do have a bunch of wrinkle dogs though staring at me that I haven't listed one of them yet. So
Siraj wants them.
yeah, he bought one. I'm very grateful for the one he bought. Yeah, that's some
He's
Lego
probably
sets.
he's probably looking at it in his house. Why the hell did I buy this? But all right. So anything else, Carl, or should we just get on to the next phase of the show?
No, let's get into Bolo of the week.
Bolo of the week. And I think last week I said my bolo is going to knock your pants off, but I think
Okay.
the actual term is knock your socks off. But this has nothing to do with socks; it has to do with pants. So,
Okay, let's hear it.
oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a unicorn. This is a unicorn bolo. But if you see that, and I have one, I have one listed right now. If you see, you know what? I'm going to generalize it. This isn't. It's half a unicorn. It's the unicorn without the horn, because which is just basically a horse. But,
That's funny.
but basically, I will generalize it and then I will break it down to something. But I'm gonna say old, antique, very vintage to antique sports equipment.
Right.
Now I've sold catcher's mask.
Yeah.
And I think I got like $100. It might have been slightly higher, but it was really old. I've sold baseball gloves, leather footballs. I think I've talked about the balls in the past, like footballs and soccer balls and stuff. But in this case, Carl, I have 1920s, 1930s hockey pants and shoulder pads. The hockey pants is really what I'd like to talk about because
Yeah.
you can really identify them as that era. And I have a pair listed right now. I think I got I got like almost like $395 on them. I will find out what I got them listed for here in a second. But $394.95. And that's like mine are a little bit beat up, and I mean they're going to come beat up because they're from the 20s and 30s, and it was hockey, right? Like it's got the stitches. You don't want to see a hockey player with teeth and no scars over the eyes. You want to see them beat right up because you know they played hockey, right? So uh, this fits right in line. It's got some stitched up holes and stuff, and I couldn't find a maker's mark, and that's maybe going to be a bit of an issue on the total value. Maybe I'll get 300, but I'm going to start at 400, see how it goes. Let me just check the status right now. I've listed them about 3 days ago, and I have two with the hearts. What does hearts mean when they got hearts? Is that like in a basket, or is that someone?
Oh, I assume someone liked them. I never even noticed that stuff.
Yeah,
Like
so I don't know exactly, but I got two hearts.
I don't think it's in your cart. It's just like, but I didn't even know you could do that on eBay, to be honest.
Yeah, so I got two of that. So people are kind of interested in them, and then I got shoulder pads. Now I did list them. I was going to put 150. I have them actually listed for 225, but that's because I found the logo CCM, which they make hockey equipment. Now I think it was 2017 they came in to started making hockey equipment. I could be off by a few years there, but I think it was 2017. And these would probably be from the 1920s, maybe 1930s. I put 20s slash 30s era. But because they had CCM stamped on the shoulder, I listed them for an extra $75. I went a little bit higher. There's not much to them, but that is what it is. And I have 5 views on them, but no hearts. So I
So
don't know.
for the pants, it says people are checking this out to have added this to their watch list.
Oh, okay. Is that what it
So
says?
yeah, that's on your listing. So I'm assuming the two hearts is the number
The
of people
watch list.
watching it. Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't. I never pay attention to that stuff. It doesn't really.
But
I don't really think it affects me that much. So I don't. What are you going to do with it? Because
so this is a
but
prime example of why
yeah,
I love my booth. So when I saw these pants, they were in a bundle with other things. So these pants were kind of off to the side. Like you couldn't really see them. But I saw two big duffel bags. One appeared military, one was a military like, but they were definitely older. And I know out of the booth, I'm getting $25 for them. Those duffel bags sometimes sit for a little bit, but I get $25. So there's $50 there. The backpack, I get 35, $45 all the time for the green canvas backpacks. There was one of those there. There was two ammo cases, like for the soldiers would have worn. They were dated 1942. There was two of them. So I'm thinking I get 30 bucks each, maybe put them both together for $50, and I'm going to sell those on eBay. They're not listed yet, but they're something to do relatively soon. Plus, there was kind of like a like when I say military, I'm not saying it was military, but it was military like, but it was that green canvas again, and it was like a satchel type thing.
okay.
You know what I mean? And people will use those. They'll go bottle collecting, or they're going to go fishing, or they'll go looking for arrowheads or different things. People will wear this, and they were in very good shape. They were worn. They were older, 50s, 60s, 70s. But I know I can sell that stuff out of the booth. There's no issue with that. I could probably sell them online, but I know I can definitely get that value out of the booth. So I paid $100. I paid $90 for this whole lot, but I already know I'm getting my money back plus on the canvas stuff. So the hockey stuff was all bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now in the pictures, I could see the duffel bag had stuff in it. So there was a mystery value there too. That mystery value turned out to be a dud. It was two very heavily worn jocks
Oh no, that's funny.
and elbow pads and some shin pads, but which in both cases they were modern. They were probably like 1990s era kind of equipment. So they were very new, and I just kind of tossed them away with the jocks. But you know, uh so anyway, so that mystery value was not as whole. Not a, I wasn't happy
It's a
with
swing
that.
and a miss.
Yeah, it's right. So, anyways, yeah. So I'm very happy. Like, I mean, if I got 300 for these, I'd be very happy. I'm trying for four, but I have sold that old sports equipment in the past. So that's going to be my bolo of the week is old sports equipment. But I'm really talking kind of 50s, 40s, and older. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So like even 50s is kind of some things might be good, some things might not be, but when you get into the early 20s, late 1800s or older, like that stuff can that stuff can really have some decent value. And that's my bolo of the week.
Sweet.
Any questions, Carl?
No, I don't think
All
so.
right.
I think actually I might be getting mixed up. I think my friend brought in a pair, but it might have been you showing me those, and I getting the two things mixed up. To be honest, but we've sold football out of the booth, and we've sold baseball gloves out of the booth in the last couple of weeks. So
Are they newer or older?
mm, they're not old.
Okay.
So
So even some newer baseball gloves can sell for sure.
yeah.
Um, Bats and different things. But I'm kind of more or less talking about the older. But some of the newer stuff, I should have put that in there too. Can be valuable too. Sometimes baseball gloves are very expensive. So if you have a good glove in good condition, you might get $40 where it might be $150. And I think a lot of people sell bats online too.
Oh, I've sold bats. They can be like hundreds, but
Yeah,
bats are really hard to know to learn at
like,
first.
like metal
Like,
aluminum bats, right?
yeah. Yeah, you want the and they have like a plastic end to them kind of thing. It's kind of weird. Like they're capped, they're hollow or something.
Okay.
Anyways, they can be difficult because they look a lot alike and one can be worth 20 and one can be 150 for the same model and everything.
Yeah.
Because it really depends on the I said the drop or something. Like there's two numbers on there and the ratio between not the ratio, but if you take the one minus the other, you want like a certain ratio and all this stuff. I can't even remember what it was, but it was more complicated than just like model name. Like if you see a worth bat, it can be okay. What's the big one? Rawling? I can't even remember.
I think like Louisville.
Yeah,
Like
that's the
I know
wooden
that I know
ones.
there was some very expensive bats when they're brand new. Like
Yeah, I'm talking about like aluminum bats. I'm not talking about the
yep,
wooden ones.
yep,
So I would recognize it if I saw it. I can't
yeah.
remember, but I have sold bats for like $100, but I bought like tons of boxes to ship bats, and then I never found any more good bats. So you have to
And
be
golf
they can
clubs.
be tracked too, right? So you have to be a little like yeah. Golf clubs can be good.
But
Uh,
I was kind of for the bolo kind of talking about like the old stuff. You know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of people probably knew about the modern stuff and they're easier to look up. But like you see an old beat up pair of hockey pants from the 1920s, 30s, you might not even know what you're looking for. You know what I mean? You might not even recognize what you're looking at because they don't really resemble today's style. You know,
no,
though
no,
the one interesting thing is uh they have the I don't know. When I played hockey, we had a garter belt that holds the socks up, but theirs is kind of built in to the pants. So I thought
yeah,
that was neat. So I took pictures of that too. But well, hold your socks up was built right into the pants. So, um, but I always had a belt that went around, you know, for those. But anyway, uh, but the modern equipment is definitely a bull in itself. Like I kind of separate the two, but
yep. So my bowl of the week, inspired by Salge, and I knew it already, but is Nightmare Before Christmas stuff.
oh okay, yep,
The movie. So this is one of the categories you just can't buy everything you see. You have to look a little closer. So like the ratio, like when I look at on .ca, when I looked at like used ones, the ratio is like 6,800 to 644, which is not good, 10 to 1. So based on that, just don't buy anything. You want to be a little more careful. When I looked at used, it sells Canadian 30 to 60, but there are some really good ones out there. So if you see lamps with Nightmare Before Christmas, definitely check them out. They can be worth 100 or so, 150. Or if you see clocks with Nightmare Before Christmas, you should check those out. Those can be worth 100. Um, you know, there's also like a lot of Halloween decorated stuff that can be good. But if I see Nightmare Before Christmas, even like I think I sold like even coasters I got some good money for. Just like simple brand new coasters. You'll see Jim Shore, like I talked about before. You'll see
yeah.
that for Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh really?
Yeah, and they can
Oh,
be
that's
worth
cool.
okay.
That's
Like none of it, this stuff isn't going to be in the $4, $5, $600 range. It's going to be in the 30, 40, 50, $60 range.
yeah.
Um,
But
but
Jim
yeah,
Shore with Nightmare Before Christmas, they kind of enhance each other. That would be an interesting look.
yeah, there's like one here for 100, 150, kind of that range. Uh, Assuming everyone's listening knows what Nightmare Before Christmas is, because it's too hard to describe. Otherwise, it's just basically from a very popular movie about Jack Skeleton, I guess.
Yeah,
So
it's a Tim Burton
Tim
film.
Burton,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So, um, yeah,
I,
that's it. That's what
I've
I got.
sold the blow mold, the hanging blow molds before.
Yeah,
Have you seen those?
I've seen stuff like that, but
Yeah, I've sold those before. I think I sold a pair for $100. I picked them up for like $5 at a yard sale. but I sold them out of the booth. But it's Jack and what's the bride? But
Sally
anyways,
Smitten.
yeah. So if you look up the blow molds, I don't even know what they're worth now. What are do you have them in front of you?
I don't see any souls for those. So
Because
I'm
they actually look really cool.
like people are even selling like just a bunch of like string lights for like 75 Canadian. Um, but like I said, lots of lamps and stuff like that. I've sold the board game for like $20. You know, it's not like none of this is going to be huge money, but it is definitely if you can pick it up for $5 or less. But just like I said, just be careful. The only thing I'd be careful about is it could be a slow sale because that ratio is definitely not the best.
Yeah. So I'm not talking. I'm just quickly looked at the blow molds here. I'm not talking about like a full blow mold. I'm talking about uh like a hanging one. Um, I don't see any right now, actually. But I think they're worth more. I think she's worth more than he is, which kind of is normally the case, right? Like because they're lesser done.
Yeah, possibly. Not quite sure.
Uh, but they were the big one. I'm gonna say life size in a way, but I don't know if that's really a key word or how to describe them. But in my case, I find them to be big. No, I see one here, and it's her for 38.63. So
This sorry, as an aside, this is what drives me nuts. So I went and just double checked my stuff, right?
yeah,
I go to YouTube, I go to like eBay and I go to the root, right? And then I search for Nightmare Before Christmas, and then it gives me the results. But then it instead of showing me all categories, it only shows me figurines Nightmare Before Christmas. I can't stand that
yeah,
because it screens out so much stuff, and it's like I never asked. Like if I just took that first result, Nightmare Before Christmas, right, on
yeah,
eBay.ca, I don't do anything. I get 22,000 results. Okay, which I took for my numbers here, or even less. I don't even know how you even restricted it more. But then I realized it's actually restricting the category. When I go do all, there's 170,000 results. I can't
wow,
stand that. Like, why
yeah,
are you screening out stuff without my requesting you to screen out categories?
yeah. I don't
Because
know, dude.
that's what
I don't.
happens sometimes when we're out in the field
Yeah,
and we're like, what happened to all these results?
yeah,
And how come I saw sold? It's like and I always forget. It's like, no, once in a while you have to be careful because they're screening things out for you. That's my pet peeve of the week.
well, and we've sort of touched roughly on that before because
We
we've
have,
had
yeah.
it times where we've searched it on our phone or something, and we come back and we're about to talk it on the show. We're looking where did that comp go,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
now I'm like, well, now you're gonna call me a liar, but I know I saw that comp.
But worse than that, sometimes like you go like, oh, look at these great comps, and then you get home and you find like much lower comps.
Yeah,
It's like, how come these lower ones didn't show up? It's like, oh, they're in a different category that we decided to screen out for you. It's like, yeah, like, now it's gotten me going. I can't stand when they make decisions for you that are bad decisions. Anyways, I love you, eBay. 99% of the time you're good now, but like that is still a big weakness for you. Because now I'm doing it. I see so many great results for Nightmare Before Christmas in the $400, $300 range
yeah,
that I didn't see at all. Right.
yeah.
So yeah, don't blame me, blame eBay. So
But no, that makes it even a better bowl.
yeah, but there's a lot more results now. So it might be a slower seller than I was just saying.
You know,
Who
it's
knows?
one of those things that you could probably do close to in the booth. You could probably get close to the same value because I mean it's like your Gremlins, it's like your uh uh what's that Beetlejuice, like
Yeah.
it's that cult following that people are going to love it no matter where they are. They don't have to be online. They could be in a booth and they're going to like that. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what's not selling on my booth is My Little Pony. They're just sitting there. Someone I was watching Two Dogs Digs and they said You have to be careful with some things that we think are collectible, like what was it, strawberry shortcake isn't really selling anymore, they said.
Right. Yeah.
And like I didn't know that until they just mentioned it. It's like, oh, like that market's kind of gone kaput.
Now, in Raggedy Ann and Andy, that kind of thing, I find that hard to move to. Um, My Little Pony, I think the value is in the really like the first generation stuff,
I only have first gen too.
and it's still not selling, eh?
No, I'm asking
Well,
15. I'm going to lower it to 10. But the
well,
thing is, the ones in the booth are not the rare ones. Like I screen out all the
I
really
think
good ones.
another one that falls in that category is the bears with the low, like the Care Bears.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those
I
don't
think
really move either.
I think that's another one that's probably been oversold on eBay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't looked into it for a while. I could be lying, but it just comes to my mind that I think they're kind of a hard sell. Like I can sell them out of the booth for like probably 15-10 bucks, right? So if I can pick up, 20 of them for $10, I'm going to do it. But
yeah.
at the same time, first of all, I don't want to fill my booth up with 20 Care Bears.
Do you
But
want some wrinkle dogs?
no, I don't even know if I know what a wrinkle dog is. But um, so anyway, so there it is. There's our bolos, I guess. Are you
Yep,
right?
that's it. That's all she wrote.
All right. Well, what time is it now, Carl?
Comments of the week.
Comments of the week. And comment comes from Spotify first. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
I'll go first
Okay.
for Tina Mac. Um. Oh, by the way, if I noticed, I can't remember which podcast it was, but I noticed like a comment we never read because they left it a lot later. We
Okay.
never go back and check. So if we haven't read your comment, we appreciate it, but it might have been like we don't necessarily go and look at old episodes to see if they've been commented on. So I
And they
didn't know.
don't tell us. The only ones I see as comments are comments that are on our last show. That's
Yeah,
all that really comes up.
yeah. So we're not ignoring you,
Yeah,
but it seems like the problem with comments disappearing have, as far as I know, no one's complained about it in a few episodes
that's
on
true.
YouTube. So hopefully that's
Yeah.
fixed. Okay, so Tina Mac, boom boxes are a great bolo. I pick up any CD cassette players I find, bread and butter item, they all sell. Just like VHS DVD combos are a bolo for me, regardless of brand. Yeah, I got 3 of them or 4 of them sitting here. Sometimes only 30 to 40 bucks, but I usually get them for 2 to 5. A couple haven't worked, but still can sell for parts, and with being cheap, worth the risk. Yeah, I was thinking about bringing my VHS combos to the booth, but I kind of like they have no remotes, so I'm not sure what are you gonna do
So
with
that's
those.
that's what I do. Anything under 50, $60, I'll put $40 on it and sell them in the booth. Anything without a remote, I put them in the booth.
Yeah, I
If they Because they don't have a remote. I think that's what you're asking, right? Like they don't
yeah
have a
for
remote,
me,
so I don't, right? Like
yeah,
even $25 with no remote for a VHS tape, like VCR only, like that's still good for me. Like out of the booth, right?
yeah. I
So
It's on my list of things to do because I kind of want a TV there too, just to show it working. I know that's probably not necessary, but
it's not necessary, but you can have it running the whole time, so it's something in the background, right? So
yeah, yeah. Um, but both of us have done well with VHS DVD sales online when they had the whole thing, or like they're new in box, they can be worth hundreds.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
those.
for sure, new in the box.
Um, for brands, I don't pick up the cheaper brands. I just don't want to deal with them. Maybe if I actually brought them to the booth and they sell, I'll deal with them. Like, what's the cheaper ones? RCA, I probably wouldn't touch. Magnavox, is that another one I usually don't touch?
I pick them all up if like depending on condition stuff. I pick up all brands of VCRs. Um, I don't pick up all DVD players. I just pick up VCRs. I think I'm probably maybe I'll try to start looking for the high end DVD players, right? Blu-rays and stuff. But for the most part, VCRs I can sell $25 out of the booth any VCR. Like if somebody wants a VCR, they don't really care. Online, I think brand is more important, but out of the booth,
Yeah,
it's just a VCR, right?
like I
So
pick up the Pioneer Blue Line ones.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if
and they're fine.
I'll see VHS players all the time at the thrift stores. And their price can be a little bit random. If I see the VHS player with the or the combo, usually more of the combos with the remote, I'm grabbing that.
Yeah,
If I see a VHS DVD remote on the baggy wall, I'll pick it up if it's a reasonable price, because those can be very valuable. And then who knows? Even if they're not valuable, I might be able to use them with what I have. So, excuse me. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you have to be like, for me, it's kind of like I can sit here and I can see three of them or four of them actually, and they've been gathering dust for a while. So you have to be a little careful with that. For me, I want to, like I said, I want to have them in the booth. I wasn't sure what the demand is there, but I should give them a chance. You never
yep,
know, right?
yep.
So, um, do 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 do. Read my Bolo linens. It's just a pattern or material feel. If it looks funky, colorful, or I recognize the brand, I look it up. Put in vintage Ralph Lauren comforters. Yeah, Ralph Lauren anything. I know that one. That one's good. Um,
Well, I'll look into that because I know the name Ralph Lauren, but it doesn't really. I mean, I'm a hillbilly dude, Just we just lay on bales of straw.
with what you're still wearing, like what are they, flower bag clothing
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I just go to sleep on my knickers.
Knickers.
but but Ralph Lauren, I'll check that out for sure. Maybe there'll be you know something that'll stick out in my mind that I can look for when I go places and stuff. When I go to the big smoke, the big city.
you know, yeah, yeah. It's the funny thing with linens and comforters and stuff like that, and blankets and sheets, and like what I do, I did wallpaper once for my bolo. That's how bit desperate things were. But I think that's another category, kind of like jewelry, I haven't really touched very much of. I've dipped my toes into the stuff a little bit with like my cross stitch and things like that, but
Yeah,
it's yeah, that like, so some people are really into that stuff, right? And they do really well
yeah,
with like blankets and stuff like that.
dude.
Like,
I honestly I don't know how. Like, if you really expand your horizons, expand your search or selling, make it very eclectic, make it like there's lots of stuff you could be selling online that does well. You know what I mean? If you're
yeah,
having problems finding things, dabble into clothing, dabble outside, go into antique, like kind of pick a little bit of everything.
yeah,
You said remote controls, like perfect. Like go find those kind of like just don't stick with one item. Like I think expand because there's a lot of stuff out there that you can do well with, right? So
yeah. No, for sure. Like for me, I've stayed away from like blankets because it's big and heavy, and there can be damage to it or stains.
well,
And
yeah, yeah, be
so
careful.
that's, yeah, and I'm not very detail oriented, so like
But
it's
that can
kind of
happen with anything you buy.
true. But with that stuff, it's big. Like you could have
Well, I know I've bought like Royal Daltons or Hummels, and I thought I looked them
yeah,
over
me
really
too.
well. But when you
Yeah,
get home, like somebody glued the neck
I
together,
know,
like the head back on, and it's a fine line, dude. And it's
I
like, how
know.
did I not see that before? Or like a finger will be chipped, but it's just the end of the pinky. But it's something that's going to be horrible to have to deal with online. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I sold one of my stupid wool statues that had like a little icicle broken off. I think I did it when I picked it up. That's how like fragile it was. And I was just happy to get $10 for it, even though I think I paid 15. This is
Yeah.
good. Let's get it out of here. So yeah, it's
But
gonna happen.
so I think in anything you buy, you still have to be careful and really look it over, and you learn from that mistake. You know what you're looking for now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know when I buy Hummels, I am looking over them 100% before I buy them. I'm looking for anything to be glued, a shiny little glue mark on the edge, or like sometimes you can't even see the crack. You just see a shiny glue mark, right?
And your heart just
So,
drops. Yeah.
so I pretty much just sell those out of the booth. I haven't had anything really like over the $40 mark that for a Hummel that would be worth putting online, but they do well out of the booth. If I pick them up for $5, I'll get 25 to $40 for them. So, but you still have to look for damage, right? Like that's
Oh
the
yeah.
thing.
Like I have a unique piece of carnival wear that would have been like a couple $100, but it had a big crack in it that even when I'm showing people, they don't see it. Like I tell them there's a crack in it, and they'll say, well, "There's no, I don't see anything." And it's like it takes me a while to find it, but once you see it, it's so obvious, and the values drops huge. But hey, that's part of the game.
Oh, am I going to read the next one? Okay.
Yeah.
Adam Wakefield. Good to see Adam back again here. Thanks for answering my question last week. I'm strongly thinking of becoming a full time seller and was just trying to wrap my head around how much it would take to get 2,000 to net 2,000 because that's what I make in my current business. Dude, I'll finish here. Just getting tired of my current job and thinking it's about time to get out. I'm gonna say this, dude. Like you tell me what you think, Carl. But in my opinion, Adam, be very careful. Like I probably quit my job too early to start this full time, and it was only my booth that kept me to the point where I could keep going. There's a lot of there's a lot of things to consider when selling online to before you quit your business, or your job. I mean, like I don't know. We could probably do a whole show on that itself, Carl. But I think your biggest, and I'm not saying the only thing, but I'm saying probably the biggest thing is sourcing volume. And we've discussed that before, Carl?
Yes.
But you have to go through tons of volume to make that money back. And I honestly also believe, and people can say I'm wrong here, but I think you need multiple outlets. Now, luckily, I dabbled first into antiques. So I can go to antique shows and sell off some things. I can have a yard sale, and a lot of those things will go because they're harder to find, and people just kind of they like them for their own personal use. They don't necessarily just resell it. Um, I have the antique booth. You could do a flea market setup like Carl does, where it's once a week. But you have to. I honestly, truly feel you need multiple out ways of sourcing and multiple ways of selling. Like I just don't think like eBay. Eventually, you could just strictly do eBay, 100%. But you're gonna still have stuff that you have to either donate or try to get recoup your money back or even make a few bucks. And it's going to be harder to sell remote controls and get money back than it is to sell like an antique decor, or because it just is like you have to find that right seller. So remote controls do very well on eBay if they're looking for that remote control, if it's working and stuff. I'm digressing hugely here, and
Yeah.
I,
Like, what?
I shouldn't be. I shouldn't. I'm just saying you have to be careful. I just think I wouldn't want someone to do this because we're talking. Like we start this channel because we just like talking about reselling and tell our experiences. But I wouldn't quit your job and expect to immediately be doing 2,000 net a week.
I could not do this full time. I don't
Yeah.
have. You have to ask yourself some other questions too. It's like, yes, you're right. Like being able to source at
There's a
a high
lot
enough.
more to it. Like I said, I did say there's a lot more to it, but you have to first. I think that's your biggest one right off the bat. But
Yeah,
go ahead, Carl. Sorry,
yeah.
but
You
I
need,
agree there is more.
like you just said, you need to be able to source a lot, and you need to be able to push it out. But I could add a couple of other things too. It's like I could not do this full time. I don't have that self discipline required to sell enough to do that, right? Like I just know that, and that's fine. Like I said, for me, on average, I net half. So what's 4,000 a week times 52 is 200,000 a year of gross stuff you need to sell to net that amount that you're saying. I I can't get close to that. But I think the other thing too is I think the danger is when you're part time and you think you're going to go full time, you kind of take that part time and just go, well, I'm only doing this for 2 hours a day. If I times that by four, I'll be
Yep,
fine. But it is not, it doesn't work like that.
does not.
It's not you might get another 50% or 100% of what you're doing on top of your part time, but it's not, it's not a ratio like this. You're going to have a lot more, like when you're doing this part time, you can go to like auctions and stuff, but it's not like there's more auctions when you're full time. So you're still kind of restricted in all that stuff. The the other thing I would warn about is if you don't currently have a separate account for your eBay, don't do this full time. You need you want a separate bank account with all your expenses and all your income going into that bank account to tell you how you're truly doing, because nothing lies, or it can't, your bank balance won't lie to you. You're going to see what that number is. If you haven't, I'm not saying about this to you, Adam, I'm just saying in general, or anyone specifically, but if you want to do this full time, I think you have to have a separate bank account. You have to separate your personal from your business, because when you're not full, when you're part time, you can mix the two and not even quite realize what you're doing, because you could be subsidizing your eBay business with your personal work money, and it might be a bigger difference than you might be doing that more than you even realize, right? So, as apart from the stuff we talked about last week, I think that's another couple of things I would say you definitely do. And like having your own bank account doesn't cost you anything. It's not that big a deal. And you know, the
It,
other thing too is a lot of the guys in this business, you see them walking around with lots of cash. So I think they always feel that they're doing really well, but that can also lie to you too, because having cash in your hand is nothing like the numbers in a bank account, right? So
and netting 2,000 a week at your current job, like it's not a job that you just want to give up for this. You know what I mean? Like it's
no,
like you want to make sure you can go back to that job if things don't work out. Um, maybe before you quit entirely, like I don't know what kind of job that what kind of management they allow and stuff, but maybe go down to a part-time basis first and with the option of coming back full-time so you don't lose all that status. I'm just saying there might be other options you want to try before just up and quitting.
yeah,
You
and not to
know,
be Debbie Downers, like
no,
we're just
I
saying it's like it
enjoy
is.
it. I
It's like
love it. It's
the
the
other big things that people don't think about is you can't get a mortgage if you don't have years of tax returns to show you're making money in this business. You can't just go to them and say, "Trust me, I'm making lots of money."
yeah.
They're not going to take.
We said this last time. I got 10,000. I got 1,000 soldiers. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, giving you a loan like that won't work.
but
Um,
it's 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 more than just that too. Like I don't know how old you are, Adam, but sometimes you have a lot in life that you have to prepare for before. Like I don't know if I was 25 if this would have been the best decision to make at that time. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
it all depends on where you are in your life, how much debt you have, how much. There's a lot of things to consider. I don't know your situation, but I would not. I don't know. I'm going to just say this. I would not advise anybody to do it, but I wouldn't advise anybody not to do it. Like it to me, it was probably the best move I've ever made. Like I'm really happy with it. That doesn't mean in a year from now I'm going to be like, God, I got to go back to Toyota. You know what I mean? Like that could happen, right?
Well, yeah, and
So
there's all the other things too, like all the benefits you get.
yeah,
Dental
there's
plan,
yeah, yeah.
retirement. Sometimes they give you a pension, all that stuff. So,
And if you're young with kids and a family and stuff, like that's very important, right? So
oh, there's that, and let's be honest, like if you go into this, you have to pay income tax, right? And that can be a shock for people too. So, yeah, we're not. I'm trying to be like I couldn't do it. Like, there's no way. I'm just not that person. If you like, I'm trying to think if I like how many people I actually know who do this full time that isn't already retired. Um, there's obviously you. There's obviously Jamie, who's on next week. Um, there's a few, but most of us are either retired or very much part time, or have other sources of income, like a partner or whatever. So,
or yeah, or you're in a later stages. I don't want to say I'm in later stages of life, but I mean, like, am I in a midlife crisis, Carl? I don't know. No, but
well, it's like you've been doing this for what you said, 10 years at least.
oh, I've been doing the antique booth for 10 years. Yes,
Yeah. So,
but I've
um,
developed. I mean, I'm not saying it's a huge knowledge base. I'm not getting there, but I've definitely developed sources and contacts and established a solid base which to build things around, which I'm going to say my booth. But a lot of people like that antique booth to me is like a mini store, right? It gives me a solid sales every month. Like I'm very happy with it. I know what's I put in a certain amount of work, which doesn't isn't going to take me away from my eBay stuff. But you also, you know what? I'm kind of digressing in a ton. My brain is going all things. But one thing I want to do say is you also you don't. This is probably my biggest thing I've learned about myself. How easily I am at getting distracted, because for the first time in I don't know a billion years, I felt free from a job, which I'm not. I'm just free from a dictatorship type job. You know what I mean? And I don't say that negatively. That's how jobs have to run. You have to be told what to do and you have to follow by their guidelines because that's how they make their money. So, but at the same time, you're told what time you have to be there. You're told what time you can go to the washroom. You're told what time you can have a break. You're told what time you can leave. All those things every single day. And it gets to be redundant, right? When you break free from that, it's like party time, man. And you forget,
yeah.
oh, I need to be doing this kind of stuff. And that's what happened to me at the beginning. I'm just like, man, I could sit out there and have a beer right now. You
When I've
know?
heard of people like going full time and then going back to a job, usually what they said is they found that they couldn't force themselves to just list and be selling all the time
Right.
and bringing enough money. Like some people said, I really like being social, so I'd hang out and talk to people, but I wasn't making enough money to pay the bills. Or something would happen like their car broke and they didn't have enough and they needed a car to do this job
Yeah.
and they couldn't afford another one and they couldn't get a loan to get another one. So it feels like we're being Debbie Downer. I just like it's harder than people think. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think you have to make sure you're pretty close to making what you want to do and have all your ducks in a row and ready to get into it before you get into it.
Yeah, and 6
I
months of reserves built
I
up at
kind
least
I
and
kind
all
of
that.
I kind of half-assed it. I kind of like was halfway there, but I didn't have the online presence that I should have had before I quit. You know what I mean? But I mean, we're going through COVID, and there was a lot of things that was just irritating me about the job and stuff that I just felt, I'm just done. I can do this. But I quickly learned that it wasn't, I don't know. I hate to say it wasn't a cakewalk, but at the same time, I mean, I got it pretty good. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty happy with the results. I think I lucked out. I think I met some really very kind, knowledgeable people that I owe this to. I'll say that. Like I couldn't have done it without a lot of the contacts that I've developed. I'll be straight up with that, right? Um, so I think there's a lot of variables. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I didn't do this on my own. I maybe built it myself, but I had outside assistance in ways that those people that assisted me may never understand. Through support, through knowledge, through contacts, through generosity of, hey, I got this contact. You know what I mean? Or I have this stuff. It's not my realm. Like, Scott, do you want this?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And developing sources. And I could call someone up and say, hey, they want 200. I think it's worth 800. What do you think?
Yeah.
And they're going to tell me. And they're going to be, thanks for getting me involved or something. Like, they're almost thankful that they got to see something kind of cool, right?
Well,
Like,
people
I,
very
I
generous.
remember
Yeah.
a couple of times I called Ben.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of these things? He called me within seconds. Dude, that's an awesome find. I've done this before, or he'll call me within seconds and say, you know what, my buddy just sold that for 500. If you can get it for 200 or less, it's a no-brainer because it's worth about $500. He just sold one last week. It was a great big sign. Like, those contacts are invaluable, but you have to also, I they don't do it because for payback, but I do that because I want to show my appreciation. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe buy him a Tim card, buy him an LCBO card, take him out for beers and nachos, or, if you make a really good hit on something, give him a little piece of the pie. You know, I've run up to people that I see on at yard sales. Hey, dude, you gave me a really good deal on those miniatures. I can't believe what those things were selling for. Here's an extra $100. You know, those are things that you do to get sources, and you have to be prepared to do that. You know, I don't know.
Yep. Yeah.
But if you're making that kind of money, I think you got to be kind of careful, and you want to make sure you have a job to go back to. In my case, that's what I had. They said they'd welcome me back with open arms, as their exact words. So to hear that, to me, it was a no-brainer. Give it a try.
Yeah.
So if you have that kind of setup, maybe make sure. You know what? Another guy told me this too, and I've said this before. And it's sometimes you don't have to do this full time to start. You could do it part time and have a part time job on the side. So
Yeah.
so maybe you could work 3 days a week and do 2 days a week reselling, or 3 days a week reselling. Have a day off or whatever it takes. I don't know your situation. I kind of do this 24/7, but I also take time off pretty much whenever I need it. You know,
Yeah. To go get a hot dog.
go get a. Did you see that hot dog,
You
Carl?
sent
I
me a
sent Carl a
picture.
picture of that Arbor dog. That's good, eh? You can't really see much for the pickles and the cucumbers, but that was a tasty hot dog. But anyway, so I don't know. I just hate to see somebody. We're talking here our experiences, and outside of that, I don't want to influence anybody. You know what I mean?
We're all both over 50 too, so we've been there, done that.
Yeah, I am over 52.
Yeah.
Not 50 as well, but 50.
Right.
I'm
52.
over 52.
So
But
I hope that helps. Uh, you know, I just no, we've talked about it enough, but I think just be careful because it's like everything costs more than you think. You don't do nearly more business as you think you're going to do full time compared to part time. Have 6 months of like expenses saved up, and you're going to have slow times. And don't just remember all the good stuff. There's going to be the times where things aren't selling. You don't want to. What you don't want to be is one of those desperate sellers too. I have come across those people who they're just trying to make the rent for the end of the month, and someone comes along and takes advantage of these booth owners. You got to watch out for those guys. So, anyways, enough of that. So let's go to YouTube. Thank you, Adam, by the way, and thank you, Tina.
but yeah, okay, that's enough. All right.
Well,
I also think like there is a flip side too, especially if you're doing it part time, like working a part time job, and maybe that's the route to go. I haven't done it that way, but there's something to be said for buying items if you have good sources where you can. I don't know. There's something to be said to always have kind of values around you. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how. I don't want to contradict what I'm saying, but if I wanted, like, I could take some stuff to an auction, or I could like things that I bought for $1 and you get $100 for it or something. Like, there's something to be said about that, man. That's fun. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not
it's
denying that. Yeah.
you know. So anyway, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to go down a whole different path, and we should be moving on. But I wouldn't recommend anybody to do it. I think you just know when you're ready, and hopefully you're right. But try to have the ability to go back to your job. Don't leave on bad terms.
You don't burn your bridges like
Yes.
screw you
So,
guys. I'm out of here. Yeah. No.
all right. Moving on to the YouTube chats.
Okay. So the first one, doing it wrong. I made some decent money on boom boxes. The older they are, the more suspect the cassette is, though. Those rubber belts will rot out pretty commonly. You can buy a stack of dry belts, but it takes some effort to open it all up, replace them, and clean the belt and not lose any screws. Yeah. I'm not doing that, but a lot of people will.
Well, so this kind of I'm going to kind of blend this in with Adam's last comment. It also helps to have good contacts with people who do repairs. So there's a retired guy. He's in Port Dover, and I kind of just ran into him doing a yard sale once, and he was selling a bunch of turntables for $20 a piece. I think he was $25 a piece, but I got them for $20 a piece because I bought all of them. I bought all seven. But what he does is he finds them and fixes them up. He used to be in like he's retired now, so I guess 60s and 70s and 80s, but he used to repair electronics. So if I buy a bunch of tube radios or I buy electronics, I can take it to him.
Mm-hmm.
He only charges $20 a radio plus parts. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? He just does it on his own, and he gives me a receipt.
Yeah.
So um when you have that type of contact, those are vital too, right? And I haven't used him enough to do this, but always be good to your contacts. Maybe give them on Christmas a gift card, $25 Tim Horton card or something like that, like an LCBO card or whatever. Just make sure you keep those contacts happy. You know what I mean? And keep in good standings. Um, but I plan on taking my electronics and radios and stuff there. And Steph and I drove by the other day to make sure he was still there because we haven't used him in probably a year. And he still got the sign up on his house and, repairs electronics. Um, so make sure you have those kind of contacts as well,
Yeah.
because that can actually make or break sometimes too, right? Like if you buy something that's broken, or not working properly, right? That's a huge difference in profits. And if you have somebody that can repair it for $20 and and the parts usually aren't that expensive. So, you got a $200 radio parts and repair turn into a $600 radio after $50 investment. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, but good point. Doing it wrong.
Like with Walkmans, I usually don't pick them up unless I can get my money back from parts, because they
Yeah.
just, a third of them work maybe. It feels like it anyways.
And well, that's a good point too. If I had something for where I picked up for $5 and to sell it is 25, but this guy's going to cost me 20 to fix it plus a belt, that's not going to be worth
No.
it. You know what I mean? So that's for sure. So yeah, good point, Carl, for sure. Like, you got to make sure all of it is worth the race for sure.
And the time, yeah. I won't even touch a lot of things now. Like when I was buying this, he showed me another one when it was all corroded inside. It's like, yeah, and I didn't even. It might be worth it, but I'm not even gonna. I can't be bothered because I know it's gonna sit around for a long time.
And one thing that's kept me out of trouble 99% of the time, because I've still fallen in the trap, but for the most part, fall in love with the deal, not the item. That's like, I'm looking cheap, dude. I don't care what the item is. If I think it, like, honestly, I try to stay 30% of what I think the value is or less.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good rule. Yeah.
And that's kind of my rule. Sometimes I go out of that boundary, but very few times.
I usually regret it when I do. Yeah.
And I usually regret it. Exactly. Usually when I get out of that, I'm like, dang, But anyway. Am I reading the next one from Doing It Wrong?
Yep.
eBay has been slow for everybody, I know, for a while now, except this week. It's been busy this week. I'm chalking it up to spring break and tax refunds. It's nice to have that little boost to keep me moving. Yeah. See, I kind of, like, I'm going to go back. For me personally, I kind of stopped listing there for a bit. So if I see, like, I'm blaming myself for that. So it's interesting to hear that coincidentally people are kind of feeling that slowdown too. But that happens every year, dude. We always have slowdown periods, and everybody complains and jumps off the bandwagon, and then it's good again, and everybody's like, "Wow, this is the best weekend ever," and I love it. And then it slows down again.
There is a lot of that happening too.
Yeah.
So it's always
What's
kind of like
doing?
I always need to see the data.
Yeah.
And the data doesn't come out until like it's all done anyway. So we'll see. There's a lot in the news too. So it's like that can influence what you're thinking too. So it's hard. Like, and for tax refunds, there's that as well, because the Americans do their taxes earlier than we do. We have like a week left to do ours. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. Okay. You are next there, Carl.
Yeah. Carver Man, Serge. I could picture Scott falling asleep while Carl started doing the math for 2000 eBay a week. Yes.
Yes. Dude, I can fall asleep whenever Carl talks. So.
There you go. Okay, I'll do the next one too from Serge. Let's see how many shows Carl can go without saying wrinkle dogs. Well, not this one. I mentioned a few times this show already. This time he didn't mention that I'm the only one that bought one. As he says, a pity buy, yeah. But I wanted it. My granddaughter loves it.
Oh.
She's only 8 months old, but she laughs when I use it as a puppet and talk funny. So there you go.
There you go.
At least all that money went to someone's love.
Wow.
And next week is Serge's favorite time at the booth too.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's the week after. It's the week after that one.
Oh,
sorry.
Come around and collect your rent.
Yeah.
I might go up there that day too.
Actually, I guess it would be this weekend because it's the last one we already paid for. So I'm assuming that's the one he means. We're desperate to get the last bit. Anyways, thank you, Serge.
I see another comment here.
Yep.
Carl.
From Serge or from Randy?
From Randy.
Yeah.
Randy, Nova Scotia Celt, 5218. Hey, Scott and Carl, how big of a store do you need to have 2,000 in sales each week? Salesability of the item is more important than the number of the saleability of the item is more important than the number of items. Being a math geek myself, accountant in a past life, I do understand for your reasoning, but that is not real life. Value versus turnover versus popular trends. I am on Team Scott with this one. I have not experienced a slowdown selling to the States. Actually, sales have been great last week. Kind of got thinking people are spending refunds from tax returns. Your joke makes me want to watch Great White North. What was my joke?
What are you talking?
Oh, the was that the white? Oh no, that was Canada.
Right.
CA. Okay.
Yeah.
A skeleton walks. Oh, a skeleton walks into a bar and orders a beer on a mop. Thanks for another fun podcast, guys. That's a good one.
Thanks, Randy.
Um. Okay. Great White North. CAA.
Getting back to the other part of he says turnover versus popular trends. So I'm not sure what the difference is there.
Value versus turnover versus popular trends. I do understand your reasoning, but that is not real life. Value versus turnover versus popular trends. What do you mean you don't know what he means
Well,
with value
like
turnover?
what's the what does he mean by popular trends, I guess? Like how that affects things. Because like a turnover is how popular something is.
Well, I think the value you get out of things, how quickly you can turn things over without becoming a hoarder, and
Well, he
then
says
popular.
turnover versus popular trends.
Okay, I'm not sure where you're stuck, Carl. Sorry.
Well, I don't know what the difference is between turnover and popular trends. That's
I
where
don't
I'm
think
going.
he's saying that there's a difference. He's saying that like value and turnover and popular trends.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Right? Those are all things that are important for him that like rather than the size of the store, those are the items that he's looking for. Like looking those are the things he's looking at for his items. Being a math
Yeah.
geek myself, accountant in a past life, I do understand your reasoning. Well, I think the real life part of it is I don't know. I don't want to get into answering for you, Carl, but I think it's more of like you value the past or to predict the future. Is that am I right on that? Maybe
Yeah, I think that's fair.
simplifying it, right?
But yeah, use past data to predict future data. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like I feel, and you know what? Like without getting back into it, I think it's some people are visual people, and some people are I don't know if the word's analytical. Like I'm a very visual person,
Yes.
right? So I'm going to look at it differently. We're going to disagree on it, but I think it's how we look at it. I think we agree on it, but we look at it and explain it differently.
Well, I
And
think like
you need to see numbers where I need to see different things without getting into it again for our conversation.
right.
But I'm
Okay.
just saying I think that's I think that's where it's different. I
Right.
tried to analyze it too, listening to it, and I think that's where it's different. I think at the end of the day, we're still trying to achieve the same goal.
Well, yeah, and it's like I wasn't dismissing the fact that how popular or how quickly like the items that you're buying and the ratio like of like how low you get it is not relevant. Because I agree with all
Well,
that.
well, because popular trends different. So if you do, and I shouldn't be speaking for Randy, but I'm just trying, like, my point would be, if you're trying to predict from last year's numbers in this month, or you know how things were in the last 6 months, that doesn't mean it's going to necessarily do that same number. It could do better, it could do worse,
Oh
right?
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
You like there's no guarantees here.
yeah.
It's not like you do the
So,
math and I can tell you you will sell this exact amount. It's always going to be a range.
and I think it's easier, like, it's going to be easier to get to 2,000 net if you get good items for $5, sell them for
Oh,
100, than it
and I
is to get them for $80 and sell them for 100, because you got to
yeah,
sell a
I
lot
definitely
more,
not disagreeing with that.
right?
That's
So I
also
think
important. Yeah.
to get to that point, I think there's a lot of different things. There was one time that you said something, and I'm like, well, we're kind of on the same path. We're just getting there differently, right? Like, I probably see it a lot the way Randy does, or we see it a lot the same way. But it might be just a matter of how we're explaining it.
I think that was it.
That was
Randy
it.
was the last comment. Yeah.
So we need a joke, Carl.
Do we?
I don't know. Randy's the one that asked for the joke. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm stressed enough with the bolo. I'm not coming up with jokes.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for their comments this week. Awesome. Always appreciate the comments. Probably the best. To me, it's one of the best parts of the show, just to kind of hear how people perceive our comments, and
Well, it gives us a second
so
chance to talk about certain subjects too, right? With some feedback or how other people
yeah,
feel.
yeah, for sure. So appreciate that for sure. Uh, any comments before we go, Carl?
No, that's it.
No.
The lovely weather is here today. I might
Yeah.
actually leave the well. I have to leave the house. I got to go to Canada Post.
Oh,
But
nice.
yes,
What's on the agenda going?
auction
Oh,
today. Tomorrow
okay.
we'll see. It's always hard to tell until you get there what they have, because sometimes you get there and it's just junk, and I turn around and come home. Prep for the booth on Sunday. Sales sent me a thing saying I should actually list stuff. No, he didn't say that, but he said something like, I think he's over 1,000 listings, so he was happy about that.
Oh, good.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. That's about it. Like, that's enough for me. Like, I don't need more than what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're retired, dude.
Yeah,
For sure. I have a lot to do. I like keeping busy with this stuff. Um, but I don't know. I have an online auction that I'm going to be dealing with tonight, but nothing spectacular. It's kind of some stuff that I wouldn't mind if I get it for a very cheap price, but there's nothing outstanding in it. What was the wooden puzzle that you
Liberty.
Liberty? So they said a wooden puzzle, but oddly enough, they just show the insides. It's like one photo, and it's just the wooden puzzles. They don't have the name. They don't show the front of the box or anything.
Yeah, it's
So I hope it's
it,
Liberty, but
yeah.
it's going to cost me $4, or it's not going to cost me anything because I'm not going to get it. But
Like I had those two puzzles, but I have to do them. So like I haven't made any money off of them yet. But and those
yeah,
I definitely will not sell in the booth. There's no way someone's gonna pay me $150 for a puzzle at the booth.
yeah.
Those are definitely going online.
Um, I think this is kind of like, unless a private pick comes up, I think it's kind of a slower sourcing week. But that's good for me because I have a lot that I need to do.
Yeah.
I have a lot that I need to get caught up on and kind of deal with. So um, that'll be good. I'm really happy with the booth. I've been doing a lot of work on the booth. I got some new display cases and stuff there. Um, Give it a different look. So really happy with the way the booth is coming along. Clothing is doing well, so probably add some more of that in there. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's just kind of a really probably a much needed slow week for
Mm.
as far as reselling.
That's one thing I want to do too. Is like I want to get rid of my plastic shelves because they're fine, but they're very utilitarian. So you know what's funny is I find it easier almost to get because I only have the Tesla. I'm not really uh I don't have a truck or something, so I find it actually easier kind of to buy them new because
Oh, yeah,
I can bring them in flat pack
yeah,
and then build them there.
yeah.
So,
Okay,
but,
cool. I did change my YouTube name.
oh, like I didn't notice.
I changed it back to Antiques and Profits.
Oh,
So what I'm going to do with that is I want to get back into YouTube. I like it. I just don't want to spend a lot of time on it. So what I'm going to do is uh get back to the antiques part of it. So I'll talk about like some antique pickups that I have, but I might just go through the store and show different booths. And Steph and I used to do a lot of antiquing, like just walk around and see different stores. So hopefully I can, put one or two videos of that per month, or maybe do 3 videos a week, but mostly around my
3
booth.
videos a week.
Yeah, but they're I don't mind doing videos. I just don't like doing the editing. So I want to
No.
do like videos that I don't have to do much editing to, right? So if
Yeah.
I kind of show the booth, I'll show the store, other booths, kind of talk through them, and then maybe go. But I don't. If it's going to be heavy editing, I can't do that because it takes up too much time.
Yeah.
Right. So I need to kind of like do cuts where I don't need to edit it and say, hey, look at this. This is kind of cool. Blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm just giving it a very basic thing, and then shut the camera off, move on to the next one, and I don't have to edit it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying.
But if I can't do that, then I can't do it. So, but I want to get back to the antiques part of it. So,
Yeah. Oh, that'll be cool. I'm looking forward I look through your videos to see how you display stuff sometimes too.
yeah. So, so I can put my booths. I got 3 booths, so I can do I can just do one booth at a time. I don't know. I think there's a lot of content, but I do find that a lot of people uh, are getting decent views talking about antiques and going to different like maybe there'll be special events. I plan on doing a couple of those this year, so those could be also some videos. But antiques seem to be kind of, I want to say, they seem to be a little bit hot right now.
Oh, okay, good.
Like, I'm not saying maybe the values are really crazy, but I think people are using it.
This stupid thing.
All right. Yeah, so there's not much. I know where we're. Okay. Yeah, so there's not much going on, so we'll keep it nice and simple. And but next week could be a big surprise. If not, we're gonna have Jamie on, so that's gonna be worth coming out just for that. So,
I don't know what you mean, but yes.
well, if we got nothing going on, why do people want to come back and listen to us next week? Oh, these guys aren't doing anything.
Well, hopefully Jamie will be on.
Yeah, Jamie will be on. He said he's on, so and he'll be able to set us straight.
He can tell us how many items you need on eBay to.
Well, I'm gonna call him right now and
week.
tell him to agree with me. He wouldn't, anyways. He would be his own person for sure. All right. Well, Carl, another fun show, buddy.
Yep. Always interesting to see what we're going to come up with, and it's never seems to be a problem yet.
No.
2 hours.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So thanks everyone for the comments. Thanks everyone for listening. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend, do all that crazy stuff so we can build up this audience. And we'll have, what's that?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Sounds great to me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, have a good week, everyone. Carl, you have a great week. I hope you sell lots on Sunday.
I gotta make rent. This Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Eh? All right. Have a good week, everyone. Have a good week, Carl. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.